what we're seeing in many bullying cases is girls hurting girls. It's 6:30 Eastern. We're going to dig deeper with Erika Holiday and Joan Rosenberg. They're the co-authors of the book Mean Girls, Meaner Women. The movie Mean Girls explored the cliques and conflicts that come with high school. But as we've seen in too many real-life cases, most recently in Western Massachusetts, teen bullying can have tragic results, and it often involves girls hurting other girls. Erika Holiday and Joan Rosenberg wrote the book Mean Girls, Meaner Women. And they join us now from Los Angeles. Good morning. Thanks for being with us. Erika, let's start with you. Are we seeing more of this these days, this sort of bullying that we saw at South Hadley High School? And how much of an influence is technology, particularly social networking, having on all of this?
Good morning. Yes, I think we are starting to see more incidents of bullying coming out now. And a lot of it does have to do with social networking, because children are now being raised where they don't need to communicate with one another. They can have all these kinds of relationships via text message, Facebook, other social networking sites. So children aren't learning how to engage one-on-one with each other.
And is it easier to or does it contribute more to it, the anonymity of the internet and sort of the depersonalization of it, that they can actually be meaner to each other in their communications?
Yes, absolutely, because you now are behind closed doors. You can now say things, the meanest, nastiest things, without ever having to reveal your identity. It's a way of getting away with being really vicious.
Joan, you argue in your book, Joan, that women grow up learning to hurt other women, a product of several factors. Let's put them on the screen for folks at home to see. One of them is self-hate, rigid gender roles, damaging media messages, intense competition, psychological, biological, evolutionary pressures. You're basically saying that girls are hardwired to handle conflicts in a way that could actually lead to extreme bullying where they don't know how to stop.
Yeah, we talk about meanness as a coping strategy in the book, and really largely the biggest issue we think is that girls are not socialized or brought up to learn how to handle their feelings in a way, particularly what we would call the difficult or hard feelings of anger, competition, aggression, and envy, and to be able to handle those in ways that are comfortable and where they manage them well, and then be able to express them directly, which is different for boys. So we do think that women both girls and women are under a lot of pressure to handle their experiences very differently.
Well, Joan, how much of that is a product, too, of growing up and trying to succeed in a world that has essentially, up until very recently, been a man's world?
Well, I don't know that that's necessarily changed. So I think there are still very challenging guidelines and norms that girls face and women face that still are anchored in the way that women and girls were brought up many, many years ago. We'd like to think it's changed.
Right. I say up until recently because, recent studies have shown that women have now surpassed men in earning power in a lot of cases, and the majority of women are breadwinners now in many families. But let me come back to Erika and talk about this Mean Girls movie, which was based on Rosalind Wiseman's book, Queen Bees and Wannabes. It introduced a lot of people to this concept. Let's take a quick look at a clip from the movie, and then I'll ask you about it.
Okay.
Regina was dangling Aaron in front of me on purpose. I knew how this would be settled in the animal world. But this was girl world.
You say in your book, Erika, that girls and boys grow up with a different set of tools for how to handle conflict. What are those different sets of tools, and how do they affect the way that they've grown up and the way that they deal with conflict?
Well, boys typically are taught at an early age that it's okay, it's normal to express your anger. Boys, more so than girls, are socialized in a way to play sports, to engage in competition with one another, and to release whatever kind of aggression they might have. Right. And for girls, it's a little bit different. Anger is seen as something that is more masculine, so girls learn that they should express sadness and not necessarily anger, and so they tend to hold in their anger much more than boys do.
Hey, Joan, are schools starting to look more closely at this issue? I imagine they are, particularly in light of what happened in Massachusetts, but most importantly, what do they need to do?
They really need to set zero-tolerance policies for bullying. That I think they need to set about an education program that includes not only the children in the school, but parents need to be actively engaged in this. Parents need to be able to step up and indicate to the children, and model for the children what needs to take place, so that it's a coordinated effort across the entire community, individually for the children, in the families, and then as a community response.
All right. Joan Rosenberg, Erika Holiday, thanks for joining us this morning, the authors of Mean Girls, Meaner Women. Good to see you this morning. Thanks so much. By the way, a little bit later on this morning, we're going to be talking with the principal of a school in Nevada who took bullying on head-on and managed to make a difference in ways that you probably couldn't expect that he would. So we'll talk to him about his strategy and how it might be applied to other schools across the nation. And of course, the AM Fix blog is up and running. Join the live conversation right now. We want to hear from you about the bullying story. This morning, we're asking, do mean girls turn into mean women? What do you think? Just go to CNN.com/AMFix. We'll be reading some of your comments throughout the morning. It's now 21 minutes to the top of